Hey guys, this is the PPC Questions and Answers show. I am Chris, and with me, as always, is my answers buddy. I'm the questions guy. This is the answers guy, Jason Rothman. Jason, you ready for question number one from our friend Rob?
Yeah, Rob. Thanks for writing in, and thanks for listening, everybody. This is I like this PPC Questions and Answers show we're doing here, Chris.
Yeah. So, as always, you can send in the questions on our main website, the Paid Search Pod. Is it the? It's just Paid Search. It's Paid Search Podcast. I don't know our own website. So send in the questions on our website, and we'll answer them on this show. So let's get straight to Rob's question. Rob asks, let's say two people sell house curtains online. Okay. Jim and Lisa, these are two different businesses, I assume. This is Jim's house curtains and Lisa's house curtains, two opposing businesses. Jim added the word used as a broad match negative keyword, while Lisa added used as an exact match negative keyword. What's the difference in performance between the two terms? And can you give me an example? So, Rob, good question. There is a massive difference. Jason, I know you have a bit of a different strategy on the way that you use negative terms. Why don't you first address the difference between broad? I think that's the biggest difference, is the difference between broad and how you use exact match negative terms.
Right. So, Chris, this show is all about honesty. To be honest, I don't know the exact rules when it comes to negative and broad and phrase. Well, I know phrase. I don't generally use exact match negative keywords. Don't generally use them. I do sometimes, but in this situation, if I did not sell used curtains and I needed to block the phrase, what's the exact phrase here, Chris? Did he give us one? Okay,
Used.
so if someone did a search in my search terms report that was like buy used curtains online, I would not add the exact match phrase buy used curtains online as a negative keyword. I would not add the word used as an exact match negative keyword, because those exact will just block those two searches exactly. It would block the search used just by itself, which I shouldn't show up on anyway, and it would block buy used curtains online. Well, if I don't sell used curtains, I'm going to not want to show up on any search that includes the word used. So I'm going to add the core of the problem here, Rob. Get to the core of the problem, the word used. I'm going to add the word used as a phrase match negative keyword. Therefore, any search ever that includes the word used, no matter what kind of curtain stuff was searched with it, I'm not going to show up on, because I don't sell used curtains. Now, Chris, I've gotten a little more liberal in my older days. I will probably add the word use as a broad match negative here as well, because I don't want anything to do with the word used at all. Give me a little insight into the word broad match, the word used broad match as a negative keyword. What is Google going to do if I add that as a broad and not just a negative?
Yeah. So Google treats, you have to really separate the way that you understand broad as I'm going to call it positive keyword, and then as a negative keyword. Okay. So if you add the word used as a broad positive keyword, just as a one word thing, you're going to get an endless number of possibilities of searches you can get clicks on, right? Used would be matched to all kinds of terms with the positive broad match.
You'd probably even show up on a search and include the word new.
Yeah, exactly. You have very little control. Okay. But if you add the word used as a broad match negative term, it's only going to show up and use that one word just the way you typed it, not a plural. There's no plural of use. So if you put, let's say in this example, shoe, if it's not going to show, it would show for keywords that said shoes, not shoe. So if you, for a practical example, if you put the word job as a negative keyword, which you want to avoid career finders, career searchers, they're saying looking for a job, you could still show up for the word jobs. It will still show for that. So effectively, the broad is much more open. You can put broad on there and Google will run with it. They let the leash off and just go. But on the positive, on the negative side, Google's much more conservative on the matching. If you say jobs, they assume you don't mean job, and vice versa. If they don't use don't use similes or synonyms or whatever the proper English term is there, but they're much more conservative on the negative side. So I think the answer here is you need to be very specific on the types of negative terms that you add. So if you add plural, you need to add the singular. If you have jobs, you need to add careers. You need to add the additional terms that mean the same thing.
So it's you're saying you like broad negative keywords because you're not going to shoot yourself in the foot. You're not going to block related searches because Google really is tight about broad match negative keywords.
I mean, because if they say we need to set this system up so that someone can't make a mistake and put the word used and end up blocking 15 different versions of what used might match for, they're very specific. So the negative keyword side is very specific, whereas the positive keyword side is very, very open and allowing for a lot of different matching. So otherwise the system would be too complicated. You'd have to be a scientist in word order and to be able to understand what kind of keywords to use and who uses what. It'd be way too complicated. So I think it works the way it does. I think it works well. And essentially exact match used would be a useless negative keyword to have, but broad match used would be perfect.
Very rarely will I add an exact match negative, but there are sometimes, Chris, if you don't want to, if you've got to, like, say he had a situation where he does not sell used curtains online, but he sells used underwear online, or maybe if he sells used shutters online. He doesn't sell used curtains, but he does sell used shutters or used carpet, whatever. He wouldn't want to add the word used just on its own as phrase or used broad because he advertises for used shutters.
Yeah.
So then you can get into maybe some different kinds of phrase match negatives or even some exact match. And by the way, Chris, there's nothing wrong with adding the word used as a broad match negative and then also adding a specific term as a broad match negative. You can still do it. It's just kind of redundant for the exact match term.
Right. Usually what I do is if I'm very specific about something I want to avoid, I'll go with exact. And then if I want to avoid it completely, the entire scope of it, I'll just add it as a broad.
Right.
So you're exactly right. It's all about the core term. If you want to avoid used cars, don't add that as an exact match. Add the word used as your negative word, not just used cars as a phrase match because it wouldn't catch everything.
Yeah, add used broad or add used phrase.
Yeah. All right. So that's it. Be sure and subscribe for lots of answers. Send in your questions. We'll answer them right here and we'll catch you next time.